الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وآله وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين. اللهم ربنا أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم أرنا حقائق الأشياء كما هي، اللهم أرنا حقائق الأشياء كما هي. اللهم ربنا زدنا علما وعملا وإخلاصا يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر أخواننا في غزة، اللهم انصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم لعن وانتقم الذين يقاتلون أولياءك في غزة ويقتلون الأبرياء والأطفال والنساء. اللهم شتت شملهم ومزق جمعهم وخرب بيوتهم ومسخ وجوههم ودمر ديارهم وأنزل بهم بأسك الذي لا ترده عن القوم المجرمين. اللهم فرج عنا وعن إخواننا في غزة وفي فلسطين كلها. اللهم فرج عن إخواننا في غزة وفي فلسطين كلها وفي اليمن وفي لبنان في سائر بلدان المسلمين. اللهم نفس كربنا وكربهم وثبت أقدامنا وأقدامهم والطف بنا وبهم يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم تقبل شهدانا، اللهم ارحم شهدانا. اللهم نتوسل إليك بشهداء غزة العزة، اللهم نتوسل إليك بشهداء الغزة أن تقبل دعانا وتحقق رجانا. وصل وسلم على محمد عبدك وصفيك وحبيبك ورسولك ووليك سيدنا ومولانا محمد وآله وصحبه وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Okay, so in the last session we discussed a few things: society, community, and his view is that an association is an agent, society is not an agent. And then he distinguished between society and community and association. The main distinction is that association is an agent, while a society and community are not agents. And community for him is based on shared understanding and on the basis of shared understanding and shared self-interest. I think was that for society, I don't remember, but we will see again. Shared understanding, and based on that the distinction between what is public and what is private. So on that basis he thinks that a state can be a political community. So, but obviously a state would have to be an association and political community, because the state is necessarily an agent for him. But that's why he says that not all states are political community. So that's where we were, because he says states that are divided societies are not political communities. Iraq after the but then you would have to say that a state has a close relation with societies, but maybe that state represents one political community more than the society as a whole. So in that case a state would still be a political community. But I think there is some fundamental conceptual problem with his distinctions, but we are playing along and we'll come back to those. Now here we had to stop. Now there's one philosopher who has denied that a political society or a state, or at least a well-ordered democratic society, can be a community. According to John Rawls, such a society is neither an association nor a community. That is democratic society. A community, he argues, is a society governed by a shared comprehensive religious, philosophical, and moral doctrine. That's hidden in his political liberalism, but probably even in theory of justice he would have the same conception of community, and that's why he is not a communitarian. But once we recognize the fact of pluralism, Rawls maintains we must abandon the hope of political community unless we are prepared to countenance the oppressive use of state power to secure it, because then you would have to use state power to state power to impose that comprehensive. But I mean, that oppressive power is used anyway, especially in America. Was John Rawls blind or what? However, this view rests on a very narrow understanding of community as a collectivity united in affirming the same comprehensive. So that's a question of, definitions. So, I mean, I don't know why they are making he is making that into an issue, because if you don't even accept the definition of community by Rawls, then there's no point in arguing with him on that. But probably he wants to differentiate his view from that of John Rawls. Fair enough. However, this view rests on a very narrow understanding of community as a collectivity united in affirming the same comprehensive doctrine. It would make it impossible to recognize as communities a range of collectivities commonly regarded as communities, including neighborhoods and townships. But if they don't have deep shared understanding, how can they be communities? Unless we are using community in a very loose sense. And if you're using in that looser sense, then probably it's not going to do any theoretical work for you within your theory. I mean, any useful theoretical work for you in your theory. While some common understanding is undoubtedly necessary, it is too much to ask that communities share much as a comprehensive doctrine. Too much? What does too much mean? I hate it when academics use vague terms and they pretend that they are some sort of precision makers. Comprehensive doctrine is just a way of life, really. And if you shared a way of life, then you share a comprehensive doctrine. You don't have to share explicit belief system. I don't think so, in order to share a comprehensive doctrine. But probably Rawls meant a specific thing by specific doctrines, by comprehensive doctrine, because for him the examples of comprehensive doctrines are Christianity, Islam, for example, and in secular views, for example, liberalism is or metaphysical liberalism of the sort which he advocated in Theory of Justice. He considers it a comprehensive doctrine. But way of life is a comprehensive doctrine as well, and you don't have to have explicit doctrines in order to share way of life in a more implicit level, I think. On a broader understanding of community, a state can be a political community. Yeah, because state does depend on modern state anyway, a sort of monolithic socialization which inculcate a certain worldview at the implicit or explicit level within its members. I agree with that. However, it should be noted that the account of on this account of it is a much less substantial thing than many might argue. So by substantial thing, probably he means more explicit thing. Otherwise, it is substantial. If it is a shared understanding, why how it won't be substantial. It is more than a partial community, being only one of many possible communities to which individuals might belong. It is no more than a partial community. Yeah, but it is a comprehensive community in the sense that a state penetrates every part of your life. Modern state is all encompassing. And in that sense, it's very deep, even if it is not substantial in inverted commas. And obviously, you can share partial community as long as they don't challenge this all-encompassing state. So, for example, you can be Muslim or Christian within a modern state, but your Christianity and your Muslimhood has to be very limited. And has to be substantially subservient to this state, or at least you shouldn't actively challenge it, otherwise you will be a terrorist or whatever. It is no more than partial, being only one of many possible communities to which individuals might belong. That's true, but with the proviso I just added. Okay, let's stop here. Let us recap, I guess, according to our want these days. So, the first thing he said is that a state can be a political community. And by community, he means shared understanding. And based on that, the distinction between public and private. And then he took a possible objection in this based on Rawls, because Rawls says that a state cannot be a community because communities are based on shared understanding, and in modern pluralistic so-called situation, you can't impose shared understanding on all individuals within a state unless you use oppressive force. And I said, what makes Rawls think that the state doesn't use oppressive force of different covert and overt sort. But let's we are not discussing Rawls here, but his our author's answer to Rawls was that his notion of community is not that strong as, not that substantial as that of Rawls. And it doesn't have to be that substantial, but he doesn't define what substantial mean really. But what I sort of surmise was that you can have comprehensive worldview which is shared within the members of modern society, modern state, but at more implicit level rather than explicit level. And it doesn't have to be explicit doctrine, but as a way of life, which is all encompassing. And it seems like in that sense, if that's your definition, then modern state can be called political community, but the sort of political community which actually is not a community in the sense that it atomizes individual, but since every individual is sort of a copy of other individual in very basic sense at the level of socialization, if you want to call it community, you may. based on your definition of some sort of shared understanding, but that shared understanding is created and recreated within modern state through socialization, through education, through media, through entertainment industry, through public policy and private policies on a continuous and constant basis. And the modern state as a leviathan, as an all-encompassing leviathan, cannot sustain itself without this sort of communitization, I would say. Okay, so that's what we sort of covered. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll continue from here next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala sayyidina Mawlana Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.